I mean, if you guys agree with me, and if the chat room agrees with me, that we have a very clear picture going forward on how the Panthers could win this division and how it's really possible for us, it makes you think, what? Okay, we have a streak of bad teams in theory that we're getting ready to play. But if we're going into the playoffs, well, now you're playing the best teams in the NFC. I wanted to look at the lay of the land right now and just kind of see how, what teams on this list do we think are a bad matchup for us. And personally, I think that we match up a lot better against a lot of these teams than someone give us credit for. I'm not a believer in Minnesota. I mean, I've seen what
What?
Dallas.
They
I've
got
seen
they
what
got
I'm
no,
not a believer in Minnesota
I've
either.
seen I've seen what Dallas
they won
did to them.
12 games,
I
dude, or
saw
something
what
like
the
that.
Detroit Lions to them, and I'm not a
Who was
believer,
the
man.
first one? The Eagles.
The Dallas Cowboys, they
the
destroyed
Cowboys.
them.
The Cowboys.
They've lost to the Eagles, right? Have they played the Eagles, the Vikings?
The Vikings.
So they've lost to Dallas, they've lost to
Yes.
Detroit, and they've lost to who? The Eagles, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I think it is the Eagles.
All right. I think Minnesota is nobody to be messed around with.
I think they can be good, but the problem is, it's like I said, you got to look at I compare them to Las Vegas. Like they're
my
won so many
third best
games
team
off
on
things.
this list.
Well, they've won so many games off things falling their way at the end or having almost kind of good luck. Look at the Buffalo game, man. Like, what are the odds that Buffalo fumbles the ball in the end zone after you had 6 attempts to get it, in the end zone from 3 yards in?
They're gonna win the division, though, Minnesota.
Yeah, but they're in a
Right,
fairly
so that
weak
means we
division, kinda
won't
like
play
we are.
them.
Yeah,
We're really only looking at teams that are wild card teams, correct?
right. The
Yeah,
teams that are gonna
so
be
we're
wild card
looking
teams.
So it would be
Commanders
the Commanders, the
and
Cowboys,
Dallas and Dallas.
and maybe San Fran.
No,
Maybe.
San Fran's going to have their division.
They're gonna win the division. Yeah.
Is Dallas gonna win the NFC?
No, that's going to be the
No.
Eagles.
Oh no, it's the Eagles. The Eagles are runaway.
Philly.
Sorry. So you think that could Seattle be on that list instead of the Bucks?
I mean, yeah, theoretically. I mean, Seattle's not out of it. There's a few
Instead of the
teams.
Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks can't be up there if we're up there.
Right. The Bucks won't be up there if we're up there.
Like, so we won't play the Bucks.
Seattle could
All
be
right.
there instead of Washington, maybe.
Who's the worst team? Who do we work? I actually the Cowboys are the worst team to play. Eagles. I mean, obviously you're not going to play
Well, the
them,
Commanders. Like, I think.
No, I don't want to
wouldn't
play
that-
the Cowboys, dude.
Hey, no. I want to play the Commanders. Wouldn't that be something? Steve Wilkes versus Ron Rivera at Bank
would
of
be
America
crazy.
Stadium, the first
That's some
playoff
storybook
matchup.
stuff right there.
Tell me that
Storybook
wouldn't
stuff.
be a fucking awesome story, dude. God, I want that to happen so badly. Yeah,
I
just think
don't
that
want
would
to
be
play
awesome.
Dallas, bro. If we play Dallas, not only
No.
do we not match up good against like that team is like probably the worst matchup in the complete like all around team outside of Philly in this case. But the problem too is that Dallas fans would take over Bank of America.
Yeah.
They would pay whatever. If you go on Cameo right now, Micah Parsons' Cameo video is $550. And that's like comparable to like top actors in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is like, and
They know what it takes, dude.
Like Cowboy fans will play anything. So like that place, that wouldn't even be a home game, I bet. I hate to
No,
say
you know
that,
what,
but-
Tony? Look, I have no doubt that they're in droves, just like I have no doubt that this Sunday the Steeler fans are going to show up in droves. But, dude, I'm telling you, the past few years, these Panther fans have had nothing to believe in. Panther fans are more numerous than these attendances have been for the Carolina Panthers. If this fan base continues to believe in this football team and we're in the playoffs, oh, baby, I promise you, we're going to have some Panther fans in Bank of America Stadium. I guarantee you that. I'm not going to say there will be more or less, but we're going to get a respectable showing like we've had once upon a time, dude. I remember in 2013 when the Patriots came to town for Monday night, came out. It was a blackout game. That place was absolutely rocking and rolling, filled with Panther fans. And that's a legacy team at this point, the New England Patriots. So I think through the past few years, Panther fans have really had rep, but I more correlate that to Matt Rule and David Tepper and the ineptitude that this organization has shown in recent years. I think Panther fans, especially now that Steve Wilkes has put up the bat signal, so to speak, I think Panther fans are going to show up and show out in droves, and we need this right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind getting another shot at the Giants. They've they've been a bad, like a terrible team when we've played them. Maybe not this year terrible because they started hot, but I felt like those are games that we were circling on the thing on the schedule each year, the saying we should beat this, and it's just the worst loss last year and this year. Give me, man, I'll take the Giants at home. Imagine that the Panthers get a playoff win. Who would you rather play? Who's worse? And just a little, real quick, and the one answer: who's worse, or who's the better matchup for us if we were to host a playoff game? New York Giants or the Commanders?
We wouldn't have either of them.
Why?
We would be
They're
the
wild
lowest
cards.
seed. We would be the lowest seed with that's the division winner. So we would face the highest rated wild card. So it would either be the Eagles or the Cowboys.
No, it wouldn't be the Eagles. That's the number 1 seed.
No, they
Right,
still
so
have a
they're
chance
gonna
to
bye.
not. No, they still have a chance to not win that division. If they lost 2 in the next 3 games, and then the Cowboys were to win out, then there is a chance that we would have to face the Eagles in the wild card round.
But there's a
That's
way
fair.
that San Francisco could be a wild card, right?
Yes,
Because
who else
they,
win their
they
battles
lost
starts
their
to blow it up.
quarterback. They got Purdy. I know they won that last game, but gosh, so we're gonna have to play the worst of the worst teams in the world. Like the evil empire of
Right.
football would be the Cowboys. Ugh. What we got next?
We'll play
go ahead,
whoever's
Greg.
number 3 seed, right? Like whoever falls into the number 3, or excuse me, no. If we win the division, we'll follow whoever is into the number 5 spot. So whoever's the 5th spot is who we play at the end of the season. But we'll have a home game.
I'll say this. I would prefer, just because it's the Cowboys and I want their fans to be salty, and I would prefer to beat the Cowboys. Like, obviously, that would be incredible. And it would be embarrassing to see, Skip Bayless and all the other Cowboy fans just completely in shambles that they're one and done in the playoffs. And
Oh,
now
that
we're
would be
on
awesome.
That would be nice,
Gassett.
yeah.
I fucking love that, dude.
He's been calling us a
but
clown show all
realistically-
year.
I guess if you want to
Yeah, I mean, look-
talk about it, you got to be about it, right? That's the team. You go and
Yeah.
beat them, and
Yeah,
all of a
yeah.
sudden you're sitting here going, "We are going to the Super Bowl, bitches! Come on,
Yeah,
Eagles!"
dude, that's what I'm saying, man, dude. That would be fucking lit. I think that would be incredible. But I mean, honestly, for matchups, I think the Commanders. I mean, right. So right now they're in a wild card spot because they're not atop the division. I think the Commanders. I mean, it's going to be an NFC East team.
It's
I
gonna,
think the
CK's right.
story-
It's gonna be the Cowboys or whoever wins the NFC
Whoever's
East,
the
right?
second, whoever's the second place in NFC East.
Right.
There isn't.
So then how
There's
can the
nobody
Commanders
else that's
up
going to be
the-
in the conversation. for that.
Because
you're
there's
right.
2 wild card spots.
There's 3
Three.
wild cards.
There's 3 wild. Ooh,
There's only 1 bye. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. They
But we'll
they're-
still
we
be the
would have
worst
to
of the
play
division
the
winners.
best team out of the wild cards.
The number 5 seed. Yeah. Yeah, because we're
which
going
would
to be the worst of the division
Cowboys
winners.
or the Eagles. Like CK's right about that. Good guys. All right, what do we got next?
Yeah, so this is just another perk of Steve Wilkes being the coach. And to be honest, I think this, along with a number of other reasons, is part of the reason why Steve Wilkes is absolutely the front runner to be the next head coach of the Carolina Panthers. How long have Panther fans been asking and begging for this very scenario? Luke Kuechly went on to WFNZ and did not turn down the possibility of joining Steve Wilkes' defensive staff someday. And dude, that is what we've all been wanting. A Luke Kuechly linebacker coach to help identify linebacker talent, but also to train them up. Maybe eventually he works his way up to defensive coordinator. I mean, that would be the dream, right? having Panther players want to come back and be a part of the coaching staff. That happens under Steve Wilkes, and it's probably not going to happen under other heads. It's a part of that culture implementing that Wilkes knows so well about, and the types of players that he would attract. So I love this, and I wanted to see what you guys thought about the potential of Luke Kuechly being a coach one day under Steve Wilkes.
I think the story right here is more of a referendum. Continue. I hate to say his name on the podcast anymore. Matt Rule.
I knew it was coming.
Is that the idea is that, and this is what a terrible picture of Luke Kuechly, by the way. Like, what the heck is this guy posting? Michael Rimmer. What a bad picture of Luke Kuechly. He looks sad. Like he's like,
probably just because it's in the headset.
Maybe he's trying to say it's like I'm longing to come back to football. Maybe that's what this picture is screaming right here. But you're right. It's not only does Steve Wilkes give you that connection to the past, right, to tap into that pipeline of legacy. Right. It has been strange about the person that seemed to be like the Peyton Manning of a defense in Luke Kuechly, the person who was not only physically and gifted, but just like a mental savant of football and a student of the game, or at least that's how it's been pitched to us. It was clear he was out there just like making guys, like having him on on your defense was like having Peyton Manning. Any offensive coordinator is going to look good. You don't do anything. Just sit over there and do whatever you think is best, right? And so it was kind of bizarre that it just didn't work out as him becoming a scout and then leaving the team and then kind of getting now reuniting towards the back end of the Rule era in this kind of broadcasting capacity. But you're right that Wilkes does give this. And one interesting thing, though, Kevin Gray, or my boy Kev in the chat brought this up, is that what if we could get Tony Romo in the booth if the Carolina Panthers played the Cowboys in that game? And I was thinking about it. I think Tony Romo, though, is an NBC guy. So unless this was like, and I don't know who was going to get the rights to this, but more than often, right, the NFC is going to fall. It's definitely not going to be a CBS thing likely, because these are two NFC teams. Fox would want the Dallas game. So maybe couldn't we get Greg Olsen to be the color commentator?
Yeah, you could.
Because
that would be so lit. I would love
a man
that
who
so
was on the
much, man.
2014 team itself.
Yeah.
Was on the 2015 team that beat the Cowboys on their way to the playoffs. That would be a great win for us. So, man, bring on the Cowboys and Greg Olsen calling the game. Oh, Tony Romo is a CBS guy, not an MEC. Oh, that's who. You're right. He is the Watchman. What I was going to say is I thought, what if Aikman and Joe Buck call it, because they used to be with Fox? I think they're doing Monday Night Football, right, with ESPN.
Well, Greg Olsen is Fox. So if we're on Fox, there's a very good that it's going to be Greg Olsen, man. I
think any of these guys would be awesome, though, particularly Romo, Olsen, because of the connection to the past for these teams. Olsen would be dynamic for us for that 2014 connection, his connection to Wilkes.
Right.
Imagine how pumped he would be.
Dude,
this is fun.
Did Kuechly ever play against Romo? How cool!
He had that pick 6 against him in the Thanksgiving game. They ended Romo's career. The Carolina Panthers in 2015 ended Romo's career. I think they broke his clavicle again or shoulder or something like that, and destroyed them on Thanksgiving Day in those sweet blue uniforms. And Luke Kuechly had a pick 6. Kurt Coleman had a pick 6. Cam was doing his thing. This was wild, though. Steve Wilkes is a man of the people, Cody.
Oh, he's absolutely a man of the people. This is the people's coach. And just to show you, and this is kind of the last bit of Steve Wilkes, because so we're happy with Wilkes. So I have no problem spending almost an hour and 30 minutes kind of talking about things relating to him. I feel like we're all pulling for him. Panther Nation's pulling for him. But I feel like this tweet was a great dichotomy of where the Panthers have been versus where we are now. And this was in Periscope. and it's how fans were reacting to Matt Rule.
No, this is
versus
Twitter. This is Twitter. They don't have Periscope no
Yeah,
more.
with Twitter, but it's the same shit pretty much. But Matt Rule, this is what they were typing when Matt Rule was doing his press conference. Fire Matt, stuttering, LOL, he knows it. That seat is getting hot. Looks like a man who knows he's getting fired. Fire Rule. This was 2 years ago, right? Now you look at Steve Wilkes, leader of men. That's a damn head coach right there. Keep pounding. Keep Steve Wilkes. I want to run through a brick wall for you, man. And that's why he's such a good coach. These players want to run through a wall for Steve Wilkes. They're willing to do it. They're able to do it. He's a leader of men. And I'm sorry, but this is why everyone is believing in themselves right now, from the Panthers on to the Panther fans to us on this podcast, man. Steve Wilkes has everyone believing, and it's just what a difference a few weeks will have on a team, right? The fact that we started with Matt Rule, maybe the most inept coach in the NFL, and now we have Steve, man. It's just perfect. I couldn't have written a better story myself.
If you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, which is on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts at, Google Play, Spotify, all of that jazz, what Cody's talking about is a Scott Fowler tweet that is juxtaposing the comments on Twitter during the video press conference of these guys. And Scott Fowler tweets, if you have ever watched the Panthers official live press conference feed after games on Twitter, it allows fans to comment in real time about what they are hearing from the coach. This is kind of weird to me because he put this on Twitter. He's like, if you've ever seen a video on Twitter while we're tweeting about it on Twitter, right? And it's like he's talking to old people, like he's explaining email to his neighbor.
He might be.
At that same time. But Fowler has always got a little petty bone in him. Right, as Fowler's been a guy who is not. He did a podcast on the Ray Carew thing. Some people didn't like that. He was trying to get into the serial. It was actually very good, to be honest, like storytelling and things like this. But Fowler has poked the bear a couple of times and made some coaches mad, and most recently made David Tepper mad. right, and the awkward press conference there. So I'm waiting for the Fowler story where he's juxtaposing the David Tepper press conference after firing Matt Rule and after hiring Steve Wilkes. Or he's going to do something like that. Here comes the petty Scott Fowler bomb. And I tell you, if you don't have a little petty in you, shame on you, shame on you. I'm a little petty for all those people who are not smashing the thumbs up button. And if Cody Lashney is ready, I think it's time to give these people a shaming for not smashing that thumbs up button and not getting it together.
Am I ready? Am I ready? Dude, when am I not ready, man? I think a better question, and maybe even a dumber question, is the chat ready? Is the chat ready for this heaping, helping of shame that my man Codizzle is dishing out to ya? Talk to him, Big Papa.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, Panthers fans of all caliber, you've come here to talk about the Carolina Panthers, to chat about the Carolina Panthers. Maybe you're listening as we travel across the country in a 18-wheeler, whatever it may be. But you haven't hit that like button. You haven't hit that thumbs up, whatever the positive review is for whatever platform you're using to watch or listen to us. I have one thing to say to all you absolute freaks. Subscriber shame.
$193 viewers, 90 thumbs up in the chat room. Y'all, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell for every single time the C3 Panther fan base and the C3 Panther Podcast goes live. Hey, man, we take no weeks off, man. We are year-round, always bringing new Panther content. And listen, man, help us whip up on that YouTube algorithm and just rush and run the football on the YouTube algorithm, just like these Panthers have been doing to our opponents, baby. It helps us grow, helps us get in front of more and more people. Tony Dunn, what we got next on the dock?
Don't forget that we've been having a blast playing PrizePicks on the